We can.
Okay, we're on for the 5th time. You don't know that, but we know that. And if we're looking a little flustered right now and frustrating, it's frustrating. We're not looking frustrating. We're looking frustrated. This is our 5th attempt. We don't know which gods aren't smiling at us right now. If we're trying to accommodate the not talking over each other, if I'm trying to monitor my profanity, if I'm trying not to sound too Midwestern, my lips are not working anymore.
Okay,
something's not happening,
right?
Because things are popping off on us.
But we're gonna try this again.
We are, because we don't give up.
No,
that should be clear. We do not give up.
Okay,
we don't.
So we are here today. First of all, we are your 2 tipsy teachers, and we are here today to talk to you about vouchers, what they are, why we should talk about them, and what is happening recently that we need to be aware of.
Yeah.
And what we can do about it.
Well, and maybe this can make it quick, right?
Yeah, let's be quick.
Because we've said it a gazillion times. We can probably summarize what we started talking about, because we do try really hard not to have a conversation sometimes, but there is so much that's connected, interwoven to everything that's wrong or interfering with our ability to have strong public schools, that it's difficult not to tie in these things. But we'll try really hard today. This is kind of like our what's what I'm looking for?
I don't know what you're
our debut.
Oh,
I'm trying to be informative without losing track of what we're saying, even though I'm doing that right now.
Right. So
clearly,
let's start talking about vouchers.
Let's start talking about
vouchers. What are they?
Well, a voucher is a system that was developed under some false pretenses, but nonetheless got pushed through. I think we need to mention ALEC. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but it's very important that you do your own research on what ALEC is and what their role is in dismantling public education and trying to move public education into more education to a privatized system. There is some really scary language in there that basically, in a nutshell, what they are trying to accomplish is your pre-Brown versus the Board of Education era.
Including not admitting or allowing students with disabilities, students that come from...
English may not be their first language.
Right, or they're live in poverty. And so there are, restrictions, restraints of who can be a part of this private school as opposed to, what public education, right? But public education, as we all know, is for everyone.
Limiting who has access to an education. That's really what it's all about. So I think that is an important piece, even though we need to talk about it more. But the voucher system uses taxpayer dollars to fund choice schools, which are private schools, oftentimes religious schools, and or independent charters. And to clarify, an independent charter is run like a private school. It is different than the charter schools that you might have in your own district that run under the same guidelines and policies as your school district. They're an in-house charter school. So let's make that clear from the get-go.
There's public charter and private charter. And public is like in Columbus, we have a public charter.
Correct.
A lot of schools or a lot of communities have private charters. I can think of Milwaukee as one, for example.
Yes, they do. So all the reasons that they stated, all the reasons we needed this, all the reasons they pushed for this system, after 10 years, we're finding out that, guess what? Shocking. Not accurate.
It's not.
So this system does not save the taxpayers any money. Does not save the taxpayers any money. It does not improve academic achievement, and we know that. We have the data to support that. It does not provide accountability. Our choice schools and independent charters are not held accountable across the board, not for their curriculum, not for their outcomes, not for the folks they hire. There's a different set of guidelines, and there is nobody holding them accountable. Not only do they not follow what necessarily DPI has put forward, but they don't operate under an elected school board, elected by your community. I think really important to keep in mind is that these schools do not provide the same protections and rights that a public school is required to provide each and every student who walks through that door. And the piece that makes this important, but if I keep going on this one?
Just keep going.
The piece that makes this one important is understanding how our school budgets work, which I'm going to be very simplistic about it. Believe me, it's a lot more complicated, but basically, we get this per pupil dollar amount. And the way the way they determine how many pupils we have in said district is by what they call a third Friday count. So every third Friday in September, there is an important count, and this determines the aid, the per pupil aid you are going to get, the number of students you have in your building that day. Now, it's a little more complicated than that, but basically that's what it is. So here's what's happening. Because they're not required to provide the same protections, a lot of these private schools are holding on to students that they know they can't accommodate, holding on to students that they know they don't necessarily want to provide an education for until that third Friday count.
Yeah.
And then they tell the family, sorry, we can't educate your child. You'll have to find someplace else to go.
Or we don't have the
resources.
In order to, help your child learn.
Right.
So not following an IEP, not following or getting, like having ramps for students who are in wheelchairs. I mean, they don't provide what is necessary for your child if you are one of those children.
But the important piece, those pieces are important, but that money stays with the school. The money does not follow the student. And a lot of people don't realize that. So that money never follows the student back to where they actually are receiving their education, which is typically back in the public schools. I think it's important to note that the most recent numbers show that we have spent as a state, we have diverted from our public school system $1.8 billion.
Billion with a B.
$1 billion. And if you want to know how much your local school district has lost, you can look it up. It is public information. We looked it up for our own small school district of maybe 1,100 to 1,200 students. Yep. It was $1 million. $1
million. $1 million.
That's not...
Should have gone to our school, our district.
Take it off the top.
And they took that away and are giving it to private vouchers and charter schools.
So if we're looking for a simple solution, how do we get more money for our public schools? Let's take a look at these vouchers and how they're hurting our students and they are hurting our community. But what we really, really want you to be aware of is something that happened 10 years ago under the
Walker administration.
And not so transparent, people.
No.
Kind of a midnight hour little slip-in.
Slipped it in.
So when they created the voucher system, there was a cap on the number of students who were eligible each year. And then each year that cap increased by approximately 1%.
About 1%.
Guess what happens after 10 years?
There's no cap.
Nope, no cap.
And no cap, not in today's lingo, like no lie.
Yeah, no.
There's no cap.
There is no limit to the number of students who could qualify for a choice or independent charter. And guess when that's happening?
Now.
2026. 2026 is 10 years. This is important for us to know, people, because this will be a huge impact on our public schools. It's not being talked about. It's not being addressed. Now, our legislators are aware of it.
Yeah, they know.
And we know this.
Yeah, they know.
Because a bill was introduced in order to address this issue. At minimum, they were asking, can we at least just freeze it right now, where it's at? Can we freeze it, the cap, whatever, and so we can address this issue? Guess what?
Yeah.
Never got a hearing.
Never even heard about it.
Nope.
Didn't even bring it to the table.
Nope. So guess who's in charge of making sure bills get a hearing?
Legislators.
Bringing it to the floor.
Yeah.
The Republicans.
Right. The Republicans.
Because they're in charge, people.
Well, right now they're in charge.
They're in charge.
Which is why elections are important to everyone.
Yep. Something could be done, but it's not being done. So we don't want to leave you with this big piece of without any solutions, right?
Yeah,
because there are solutions and we know what they are. The solution is to stay informed. The solution is to use your voice to inform. The solution is to not shut up about these issues because they are important. The solution is to vote. The solution is to research the candidates. Do your homework, connect the dots, look where the money is, look where the push is, get through all the rhetoric and the propaganda and the sound bites that lead you to believe that this is a really good thing, because it is not. It is harming our students. And if you really want to dig deeper, research a little bit on what ALEC is doing and how they are the drivers behind what is happening to our public schools and the ugly reason why. That should alarm everyone.
Yes. ALEC.
Yeah.
ALEC.
Use your voice. Make sure you elect school board members that are supporting your local public schools and vote. Research your candidates, people. You can do it.
Yeah.
There is more to come on this. We want to share more. We're desperately trying to keep it a little more succinct and out there, but it's impossible with education.
Yeah.
It really, you know what, the piece I forgot too that's so important? Crap, bear with me one little moment.
Yeah, go.
This piece is huge, and this piece I did not know. I picked this up listening to a podcast recently, that 80% of the families who are taking advantage, and that is the right term, folks, because they are taking advantage of this program. 80% of the students have never set foot in a public school. Their families have already chosen to enroll them in a private school. But when this opportunity came along, they apply for the choice school and they apply for the financial aid to pay for an education that they have already chosen for their children.
And they've been paying for forever, and now they're gonna get
and they're not fleeing the public schools.
No,
I mean, that was another little tidbit. They're fleeing the public schools. No,
they're not.
80%, friends. That's huge. So do your research. Get your numbers. Get out there and use your voice.
Yep. Okay.
Have a great Monday.
Have a great Monday.
Hopefully this one took, because this is our 5th attempt. And if it did not, you may have to wait till next Monday.
All right.
We are
the 2
Tipsy
Teachers. Signing off.